Great, thanks everyone for coming. This is Sustainable Brewing with PowerMarket. We have Isaac Reisman and Nick Baudouin. They are our presenters today, and I'll let them take it away and introduce themselves.
Hi everybody. How's that? Sounds good? All right, love it. So I'm Nick Baudouin. I'm a co-founder of PowerMarket, and we help small businesses. We give them access to clean energy, local energy, and especially in an affordable way. So we want to make sure that the companies that we work with are sustainable. We want to make sure that they do it in a way that improves their bottom line. You know, sustainability is great, but at the same time, we want to make sure that the most important thing is that they're saving. So I really want to talk about the slide. So let's start with where. So we are a New York-based company. We're born in Brooklyn, actually, and we're in New York City right now, and we're scattered around the Northeast. And we've been providing small businesses with access to clean local energy for 10 years now. So we started with only 3 of us. We're up to 33. We have maintained 100% control of the company, so we are 100% employee-owned. And we have, just in New York alone, we provided $15 million on savings on utility bills. So that's real tangible change, real tangible savings for small businesses and residential subscribers. And we have nearly 270 community energy projects, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and over 80,000 New Yorkers using our services. Okay, so again, sustainability, it's no longer this nice to have. You know, our climate is changing, and we want to make sure that companies are doing so too. You know, it's usually sustainability is kind of looked at as something for larger companies. It is for companies that have the ability to do so. But we're seeing sustainability as not that anymore. You know, sustainability, you can take small steps to become more sustainable, and that can improve your bottom line, obviously reduce environmental impact, help you attract investment, and help you attract some employees as well. So as we continue along the journey of climate change, sustainability is going to become more and more important for brewers and for small businesses. So we're going to talk about a couple ways to become more sustainable, and we're really going to try to focus on the lower effort steps. You know, I was talking to Megan earlier, and she was saying how everyone knows Sierra Nevada. You know, and they look at Sierra Nevada as this kind of this massive entity that has really taken sustainability to heart, and it's part of their brand. And we want to make sure that we're up here and not saying you all can become Sierra Nevada. We are going to make sure that you can take small steps towards sustainability while preserving your brand, while preserving who you are as brewers. So the first thing, I'll breeze through this really quickly, but the first thing is gather the evidence of what your impact is on the environment. Look at your data, analyze that data, and set targets. What kind of company do you want to be? Do you want to be net zero? Do you want to take, what steps do you want to take in order to, reach your sustainability goals? So looking at, first and foremost, your gas usage, your electricity usage, and set those targets. After the targets have been set, next slide, Isaac. You take a look at some of the options here. So the first and foremost, one, on-site solar. It's daunting. To have room to be able to have access to a roof that's been built in the last 15 years, and to be able to have the capital cost to put solar on your own property. So it's tangible. It's a fantastic showcase to be able to sit at a brewery, look at solar, and really connect the customer to that brand of sustainability. So it's fantastic how tangible it is. You're looking at the savings is from what you have to put up front is significant. We'll get to the cons in a second, but you're looking at a 6 to 9 payback with tax incentives, and there are financing options nowadays. Like I said, the cons, you're talking about big, high upfront costs. You could also go the financing route. There are development hurdles. You have to have access to a roof. And then, of course, if you're removing trees, it's kind of counter to where you want to be. If you have to knock down trees in order to put solar on the roof, on your roof or on your property, there are those cons. And again, this is a larger step here. This is not, what we are saying is the first step, but it's definitely an option. Okay, so this is kind of our bread and butter of what we do at PowerMarket, and this is the reason why we've been able to put $15 million back in the pockets of New Yorkers. We promote community solar first and foremost, and it is really the simplest way to take part in clean energy. We at PowerMarket, we're not energy developers, so we do not go to farmers and landowners and say, give us your land and we're going to put solar on the projects. We make sure that what we do is we help run community solar projects as well. And so what a community solar project is, in essence, is it's a solar project set away from everyone's home. It is set, I'm sure you've seen driving around the area, I'm sure you've seen some relatively large solar projects. They're probably community solar projects. And it's local households, small businesses, subscribing to that project. This way, you don't own anything. You don't have to put anything up front, and you are seeing the savings. So as you can see, back to that, Isaac, really quickly. So the sun, as you can see with one, this is a graph from NYSERDA, I believe. The sun creates power, you create kilowatt hours, production of solar energy. That goes directly into the utility. And then every subscriber on the project, and each subscriber, depending if you're a small business, a large business, small brewery, large brewery, you're going to have a different allocation to the project. So some residential households might only have 3 panels. Other larger businesses will have, something like 15, 20 panels. All that power goes into the utility, and then the utility provides bill savings directly on all subscribers' utility bills. It just lowers the amount that you owe the utility. So that is, one of the ways that small businesses, breweries, can simply just see money off their bill. So, Isaac, over to the, like I said, quick lead times. You don't need to cite anything since no one comes to your site. You simply just sign up. There's no additional costs. There's guaranteed savings from participation, and New York State has been, absolutely instrumental with getting these programs through. And then there's no long-term commitment. No one's putting solar on your roof, so ultimately there's no holes drilled into your roof, and you can just you see savings for as long as you want to be in the project. As soon as you move away, again, there's no sort of assembly that needs to happen. And so it makes it really easy to come in and out of the project and see that savings. The cons, you're limited to about 5 to 10% savings in New York, and you can't claim the environmental benefits. We'll get to that a little bit later, but in essence, by being a part of a community solar project, if you're just in a community solar project, you cannot say that you're running your brewery off of 100% renewable energy. So a small, kind of con there, but ultimately it's a great first tangible step getting involved and becoming more sustainable. By the way, if anyone has any questions, this way we don't kind of save it to the end, raise your hand. I'll happily get to you and kind of make it a little bit more collaborative here. So. Right. All right, energy efficiency. So, I'm sure that you've heard all about energy efficiency. There are some, higher costs here. We did low, moderate. There are some high. We got rid of them. We want to make sure that we're talking about those smaller, tangible steps towards sustainability. And so, the easy ones: repairing leaks, insulation, airflow, replacing your incandescent bulbs with LEDs. Again, I know that even that can be daunting, given that we're all used to watts, and all of a sudden we have to change to lumens. But these are small, low-touch ways to become more sustainable. Moderate costs, we go into HVAC units, heat recovery, and startup times for boilers. We don't operate too much in the energy efficiency space, but we know a lot of companies around New York that can really provide some easier and more financially viable paths towards these low and moderate costs. Electrification. So it is, it's very, very hot right now. electrification. We are moving towards weaning ourselves off of fossil fuels, so no more gas heat, no more oil heat, and becoming 100% electric. And the pros are that you get to wean yourself off fossil fuels. And a heat pump system, it provides heating and cooling, so you don't need separate systems. And then it's, of course, environmentally friendly.
Are these moves away from the oil and gas and stuff, are they being implemented at a legislative level, or I know there are some kind of things going on, there's like different mechanisms. So is that happening across the state, is that happening across the country? I know there's a whole bunch of different things going on.
Yeah, there are some national incentives, but the state incentives are really, we have some local incentives, local to New York State, that really make this even more viable than there are with the investment, with the ITC, the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act. It provides a good amount of incentives there. But in terms of New York specific, we have some incentives on top of that. I guess the slight twist on the environmentally friendly side, it's kind of like electric cars. Ultimately, if you're running your heat pump and you're becoming more electric, but you're running the mix of electricity is mostly fossil fuels. Sure, you might have an electric car, but if that mix is off coal, you're running your car off coal. And it's the same thing with heat pumps. If you're moving towards electrification, but the mix of technology being used to generate electricity is more fossil fuel based, might not be the best fit for you. And then of course, it increases electricity usage, and that's a pain point here, because we all know utilities around the state. Utilities around the state, electricity rates are skyrocketing. Is going to increase your electricity bill, full stop. But of course, it'll take your gas bill off the equation. Yes.
Is there a simple way to trace back your electricity source to see where it came?
Yes. So, if you're just getting it from the grid, there are some resources out there. New York Energy Research and Development Agency, NYSERDA, they have some great graphs there. I'm happy to come up afterwards. I'm happy to direct that to you. And then, of course, if you are getting your power elsewhere, an independent supplier, then they can tell you where that mix is coming from. But ultimately, I'm assuming that most people get it directly from the grid, from the standard offer, and there are some great resources there to tell you exactly where that power is coming from. New York is going to be a mix of natural gas, hydro being the big two, I would say, for that, and then a dash of renewables in there, a little bit of coal, and some nuclear as well. And then RECs, so renewable energy certificates. How familiar are we with renewable energy certificates? None? All right, let's start from scratch. So renewable energy certificates, I think you might have seen companies such as, say, Delta. I saw it the other day, actually. I took a flight the other day and I saw this. They are committing to 100% renewable by a certain date. That doesn't mean that they're going to be running their planes, plugging them in, and then having them take off and running off solar power. This is something that they are buying offsets. They're buying renewable energy certificates to offset their electricity usage. So by purchasing these things called renewable energy certificates, you can actually claim that you run your business off of 100% renewable sources. So if you consume 1 megawatt hour, which is a good amount of power, you would buy one REC, and you would say, I have used in my company a megawatt hour, but that megawatt hour came from renewable energy sources. And what you're doing is you are buying the ability to collect the attributes of renewable energy generation. So these are projects that have come in New York or have been built in New York, built in Iowa with wind, solar and wind in Texas. It can be anywhere in the national side. It can be anywhere in the local side with New York. Of course, the national ones are a lot cheaper because there's a bigger supply. And then on the New York side, they are expensive right now, and it goes into community choice aggregation, which I know there's been some talk of that. We don't want to get too in the weeds, so we won't go that direction. But RECs are a way to, instead of having to install solar on your roof, or instead of taking these large measures, a simple way, a simple step to becoming, more sustainable. And then of course you can market, similar to Delta the other day. I saw a huge amount of marketing around that. And that's also what these mega breweries are doing. What do we have on this? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I've already talked about it, but you avoid the carbon dioxide emissions associated with conventional electricity use. This comes from InBev, 100% renewable energy right on their can. So they're able to market to their consumers, to their drinkers, that they are 100% renewable. Are they actually running their facility off of renewable energy? They have some on site, but ultimately they are purchasing RECs to offset. It is going to indirectly reduce air pollution. You are supporting, these projects. Investors are creating these projects or building these projects, knowing that these RECs are going to be purchased. So, by purchasing RECs, you are putting more solar power, more wind power onto the grid. And then, of course, there's marketing purposes. I think I want to open up to the room here, but I've been talking to a bunch of breweries and talking about can real estate. There's only so much room on a can, and some have grappled with the idea of I'm going to place something saying this beer was brewed with 100% renewable energy, and others are saying I just don't have enough room on my can. So I guess maybe we open it up to the room if anyone has any comments around that. Is there room on the can for this, and do you think that would resonate with your drinkers or your consumers? Anyone have any comments on that?
You don't need too much space for that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It definitely resonated.
Yeah.
It definitely be interested to see that.
And do you think that do you look at again, one of the questions, I think I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's go this direction. It's fine. If you are a sustainable brewery, charging a little bit more for that 6-pack. Does that kind of put you over the price point of everybody else? Or, is it a market share play where you got, 5 6-packs in the fridge, you're choosing the one that's more sustainable? I have heard that it is the latter, by increasing the price of a 6-pack by $1, it might kind of, your market share will really drop, it won't be worth it. But any thoughts on that, premiums for sustainability? Or is it just, let's try to capture as much market share as possible?
You're asking a big question, isn't it?
I guess I am, yeah. These are the questions for the end, but...
You're in between, what's the reason to do this?
Right.
Your own ethical evaluations of the world, or, your hopeful consumer's identity, or your perception of your identity, right?
Right.
We see a lot of success and a lot of excitement around some of the sustainability stuff we do. But I'm sure you will agree that the economics of it are hard. But for us, for any brewery to buy those certificates, Delta might benefit from that in that competition.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure, it's really interesting to think about why you do all this stuff,
That's right.
Other than your own personal motivation.
That's right, and we are looking to go back one more. Let's jump around. Let's go 2 forward. Keep it loose.
So the question I had is on the kind of leaning off what you're saying is so if we put this on, you're asking about the price point and being able to charge a little more. Can you talk about what the RECs actually cost? How much is that going to cost?
Yeah.
One person has to figure out how many kilowatt hours they use a year. Then, what does that cost?
Yeah.
Per kilowatt hour? How does it?
Yeah, so it's going to be essentially per kilowatt hour,
Okay.
per megawatt hour, but that's 1,000 kilowatt hours. And it's a great point. And why we highlighted these two together is that we're seeing by combining community solar and renewable energy certificates, you can actually get renewable energy certificates at a discount. So, the Deltas of the world, yeah, they can shell out millions of dollars to purchase these things and put solar projects on their roof. But by combining this very, very, very simple step of community solar, it gives you savings that then you can potentially use if you want to take that next step, purchase RECs, and be able to advertise right on your can that, hey, this beer was brewed with 100% renewable energy. And that's ultimately, it's the ask is trying to be as pragmatic as possible, and it's take those small steps. And how do you take those small steps? And making sure that at the end of the day, you're not opening up you're not diminishing your margins anymore. Yes.
So to your point on that, I think one of the things that we would have issue with specifically with the RECs, and it was on your slide, we kind of skipped over this, I'm wondering if you can talk about it a little bit more. Putting something like 100% renewable on our cans would be awesome. But RECs are so intangible, we have no way of tracing what is actually being done environmentally in the community. And for a small-time brewery who is not a big producer, not a big distributor, people ask us direct questions about it.
Yes.
We grow hops in our front yard, basically, it's a parking lot, but we grow hops, we grow plants, products, that sort of thing. So we tell our customers, and it's something that we become branded for. So we tell our customers, yeah, we're 100%, but we brewed this on 100% renewable energy, or this is 100% offset. We don't have the luxury of the Deltas of the world to just sort of be like, oh yeah, no, we paid some guy like $100 million, don't worry about it, I think they did something.
That's right.
Great.
That's right.
So how do you reconcile that with like your branding and your customer base? I can see where it'd be like much more practical for the community solar. This seems like a great option, but how does this relate to that sort of on the ground?
Completely. What's that?
Can you trace the RECs?
That's what we're looking to do. Yes. So, when you buy in a small scale, we're actually able to, instead of just pay someone, go get all the RECs from a big pool, we're actually able to go to a specific project.
Okay.
And that's been a really, we've heard the same thing, and that's been a really great kind of one-to-one connection there. The big thing is that project could be in Nebraska. And is that really providing the benefit for someone in a small town in New York? It's a big question there. Of course, by kind of marrying that with a community solar project, and you could say that community solar project is right there, it's a mile away. But it almost seems a little bit strange that the local one, you can't claim anything, and the one in Nebraska, you can. But hopefully by combining those two, you are putting the local side on it and still, being able to make those claims. But with a small scale, yeah, we can work with a specific renewable energy project, so wind or solar, and that's how you kind of make it a little bit more tangible, which we are trying to focus on, because typically the market is for these large companies to just come in and pay money. But with community solar, we've seen that, hey, you can actually still purchase RECs in a small way, and that could lead to other things like energy efficiency and electrification and the like. But looking at these small REC purchases, offsetting them with community solar, you can draw the lines one-to-one. Yeah.
For these providers of the RECs, can we trace it back to Nebraska? Do they have is there a guidance that they actually have to follow to do, or are they just kind of like, hey, yeah, we got something out in Nebraska, so go check it out?
Yeah, no, there's especially with it being greeny, and those are the RECs that we always make sure we're using. They're trackable. It's make sure that there are these extreme regulations that you can trace it back. But yeah, that's always a concern. We're making sure that everything is defensible, trackable, and traceable, transparent. Isaac, where are we? What do you want to do? So yeah, these are the big ones. InBev, Heineken, They're all purchasing recs, doing projects that are on site. Obviously, this is pie in the sky here, but it is just to demonstrate that the marketing potential. This is what they are leaning on. They're making these purchases not just for the benefit of their own selves. They are doing it for a marketing purpose. It does move beer. It does sell more beer. Also, as soon as InBev did it, Heineken had to jump on board, and so by being the first one in the pool, you're setting the standard, and then once someone jumps in, everyone has to follow. So being that at the frontier of that, I think InBev kind of set the precedent. Of course, they have the ability to, but they definitely lean on that for their marketing. Got a couple companies local. I know Sing Sing is in the room here, so big shout out to you guys. And a couple others that we've seen that have really taken sustainability and especially clean energy to heart here. Yeah, so ultimately, there are these options here. I know sustainability is just such a difficult nut to crack, and it's all about simplicity. We want to make sure that what we do, and we know that sustainability and clean energy are extremely important, but they are very, very difficult. You are here to brew beer, and now all of a sudden you have to be thinking about other things. We want to try to make it as simple as possible for you. And so we've highlighted the two there that we think have the most impact, probably in that order. I will say, if it's with us or somebody else, community solar is a no-brainer. There is truly just no risk, always guaranteed savings. There's nothing that you have to put down ever. I know it's a small portion of your bill, 10%, but go research it, or you can talk to me afterwards, but it doesn't matter who it's with. I would highly recommend that. And then Rex, of course, especially around the marketing side and trying to resonate with your audience, with your consumers. That's what we would recommend for the smallest steps to make the biggest impact. And then, of course, energy efficiency and electrification. That's also obviously such a positive direction to go. We can definitely help you connect to some companies that are doing some great things, local companies in New York that are doing some great things. But yes, community solar and Rex provide the highest impact, the lowest cost solution. Yes?
Sorry if I misunderstood this, but what sort of overhead are y'all charging for resources? Is it a partnership? Is it a subscription? Is it what, PowerMarket specifically? What are y'all?
How do we make money, essentially?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
How do we have to buy into this?
Of course.
From you.
So on the community solar side, it is, everyone, there's probably a couple different community solar providers out there in New York. We're the New York local company, but it's a 5-minute process. You put in your utility bill, you check a box that says, I want credits on my bill, and that's that. We are paid by the solar developers that build these projects and the like. So we're never paid from subscribers. And we make sure of that. We set out initially, we built the company, living in New York City, when we built the company and seeing that we can't participate in clean energy, just by living in the city. Obviously, we didn't own any of the places that we lived in. We didn't see our roof. We didn't have access to our roof. And so we said, well, I guess we just have to take a break from clean energy and sustainability and just wait until we're out of New York City. And then we heard about community solar, built a solution for it. But ultimately, it's a very, very easy way to sign up for that. And we are always making sure that we are paid never by the subscriber. It is first and foremost to make sure that this is a product for everybody. And to community solar a lot here, but community solar, New York has also made a really big emphasis for disadvantaged communities and low to moderate income individuals and households to make sure that they are participating in these programs. Again, it's simply money off your bill, and so to provide that type of benefit to the most vulnerable communities has been a really, really big point of emphasis for New York, and one of the reasons we started our company. So it never comes from the subscriber. On the rec side, what we've done as well is to make sure that there is no money out of these small businesses' pocket. We basically will say we don't want to charge you anything up front, and then we'll basically work out the payment of the recs from the community solar savings. So you're never out of pocket for anything. That's how we're trying to keep it as easy as possible. But for the recs, you have to buy those outright, and there's ways that our company can work with you, but there are other companies providing recs as well. But yes, that is an invoice. But we're working. Well, we have a way to make sure that again, it's directly from savings and not from the other way around. Yes.
Do you know offhand like the market price per megawatt?
Yeah. So megawatt per megawatt hour is about $4 a rec for national. And it's about $40 a rec for local New York. Yeah. We have some folks some companies that opted for that piece to make sure that I know exactly where my project is, my rec project is, and I want to make sure it's within the state of New York. But for national recs, that's how, by blending community solar and recs, that's how we're able to offer it at a discount national. In-state, can't do it.
Do you know the income question too? Megawatt is 1,000 kilowatts?
Yeah. Not a dumb question at all. We have to, we do like, oh no, wait, do we do too many zeros? But yeah.
Do you have any insight into kind of what the average kind of like brewery per barrel like kilowatt is? Or
It's a really good question. We don't, but with more data we can look into that. But that is, yeah, that would be a really good data point.
I think it's under.
Right, and
Is it?
I can go through and correlate all like my electricity for the year.
I think we did it at 20 kilowatts hours a day.
20 kilowatt hours a day.
I think that was like how
Yeah,
Right.
that sounds about right.
And I have an all-electric,
Yeah.
all-electric facility, so there's no gas, so obviously mine's gonna be a lot higher, so.
Yeah, it's actually, that was one of my other questions, like, is there a easy entry point into that kind of like audit where, you can be like, yeah, how many kilowatt hours per barrel equivalent, how many recs would I need to clear my name?
Yeah. That's something, there are companies out there that can help you do it. We do that as well, and we don't charge anything for that. That is not something, that's not our core business. We want to make sure that this is the right fit, and so we're not going to say, yeah, if you're coming to us, we need to charge you money just to do an analysis. We want to do the analysis and then say, oh, yeah, we got some good fits here. Again, the easy one being like, put you on a community solar project to start. Everyone benefits there. But yeah, there's definitely some companies that just do carbon accounting. Yeah, they go pretty deep in what they can do. There's a lot. But yeah, we can help you out with that, of course.
So for the credits, are you just greenwashing the electricity you're already using? Or is that like, are you, instead of purchasing, is that the purchase price, $4 or $40, purchase price through the provider? Or is that just an additional fee to say, now paid?
Yes, it's an additional fee to basically say that my power has come from green sources.
So you're paying for the electricity and then the credit on top?
And then the credit on top of it, yes. And it does bring up a good question on greenwashing. That is a little bit of a critique on recs, I would say. You point to the additionality, and that's, by paying for recs, are you actually putting more renewable energy on the grid? And it is the biggest critique, I would say. I think I can very much defend it and say, yes, you are. These projects are already built, so there might not be just direct additionality of saying, well, if I don't buy these recs, this project will not be built. But it does lead the way for future that, if there's no demand for recs, we will not continue to build renewable energy projects in the US. So you are paving the way for future projects, I would say. And again, if you're not building renewable energy projects, that power has to come from somewhere, so they're gonna, lean towards fossil fuels, more natural gas plants. But yes, it is a purchasing power and then the rec to offset that power in a way to make you say that you're taking the attributes on the clean energy side. Any other questions? Jason, what you got? Any questions?
I don't know, throw myself under the bus here, but really cool. I just pulled up my reports so I have 6 meters in my building, but it looks like I'm reading this right, and I don't know if I'm reading it right, but I'd be using about 15 megawatts a month.
A lot.
So how do I do that with this building? I don't have a brewery.
I would, I think you're a magnitude off.
Okay.
Yeah. 50 megawatts is a lot. 15?
Yes.
15 megawatts, that would be your demand.
Okay. So that's what I think, that's what I need people to do.
Exactly.
And because I don't know.
Utility bills, utility comes to make it convoluted.
We looked at this before,
Yeah.
like, I'm getting something from some other third-party company that like shows me the invoice, but I don't
That's right.
have to access Con Ed directly, so I don't have like these, I can't go into my Con Ed account and see what my usage is and see all these different things. It's
right.
quad logic, and who the fuck is that? Like, the ability to have that access to that data and understanding where it's coming from is, even at this point, is kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
So as
Absolutely.
much as we can have someone like you or other people come through and give us this audit or something that we can actually understand the usage. And not only like whatever my total usage is like, I can find that out for the year per barrel, but like, is that high, is that low? I don't know where that stands in terms of like, kind of data usage or data or electricity usage, like, until I have like, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? What is things, what is whoever, like, and more data points that I can actually understand.
That's right.
So,
Speaking of that, I just know it came up earlier, and according to the EPA, breweries use 50 to 66 kilowatt hours per barrel of beer produced, 7% for brewing and 25% for bottling. I know we were trying to like get it roughly like cost.
Can you say that again? What was that?
Yeah, 50 to 66 kilowatt hours per barrel of beer produced. That's according to the EPA. They like do a lot of work with breweries too and trying to make operations more sustainable.
and that's purely a production side, like, that's what, that would be the most biggest thing.
Yeah, 7% for brewing, 25% for bottling.
And you'll have more than that as your electric.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's interesting. We may know like what kind of greenhouse that would be.
Are you electric steam, Jason?
We have electric thermal fluid heated oil system, so it's like a steam system, so it's jacketed, pushed around, but it's oil based heating, not steam.
But that's more efficient than steam, so you lose one stage.
Right, there's no stage labor state change. So, but we're also 3.5 barrels. But we're trying to like look and find something that's 10 barrels that's also that size. People shaking their heads.
That doesn't exist, right?
No, there are electric. There are direct elements in the.
No, I mean electric oil.
There are the Delta T is the company that we utilize, and they do have larger things. It's just one of the things that we have to figure out if it's actually viable. But there are all different types of electric heating sources that are not direct elements. And they do this, we are kind of the mid-range size of them, but they have larger ones. I just don't know if it's like overkill. So that's something we have to work with our producer. But there are options out there, and so that's what we're trying to find out. Versus a jacketed thing where it's 10 barrels and now you're not touching a lot of liquid. Maybe there's something that like where we do like internal planning or something like that has a little bit more direct connection and just kind of flows things around and stuff. So there's a lot of things that we're trying to figure out and understand. But with one of the things that we've dealt with in New York City is other right before or right after the pandemic is a bunch of breweries were trying to open at that time, and they extra, I don't know, they're trying to finish a pipeline or something, I don't know what it is, but people could not operate, because they could not finish off their breweries because National Grid didn't want to help with the gas. So, you know, for us, it was always like, oh, let's do sustainability, you know, let's do electric anyways, and then this is just kind of like an extra thing, because this is not going to get any easier as, you know, things start to change, things start to shift, you know, these gas companies are going to be, you know, trying to save themselves and ask for more, and you try to do it's going to be difficult. So for us, it was always just like, let's get ahead of it and go.
Have you seen any breweries that like 30, 60 barrel all electric?
Well, I haven't seen a lot of breweries much bigger than us that are electric. I know there are a couple. I've seen some low pressure electric steam boilers that are there that power like a 10 barrel and stuff. So that's something we're looking at. This oil. So yeah, like. But I don't know. I'm not sure if anything like if you go up to like really big barrels, because there's industrial things that people are using industrial, you know, electricity. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do the best job in the sentence story, but I heard Alaska Brewing Company, they were shipping their spent grain to the US, which was costing them an inordinate amount, right, for composting.
Yeah.
So they decided to invest in a dehydrator, so they're now pelletizing some of it and it's feeding a boiler that's used in their operations, which I just thought was super fascinating.
That's cool.
That's the circular economy is just it's really interesting.
Is there anybody else electric here?
Electric steam.
Electric steam. Okay. You good? Director or
We're an oil based, but we're not like the recirc. It sits in a pan and you heat up the oil.
Okay.
It's not a very efficient piece of equipment, but it does its job.
Any other questions, comments? Yes.
So are you seeing with like the community solar projects an increase in like the share that of energy that it does come from solar, both within the state and within the country?
Yes. Okay. So, so the community solar is separate than the renewable energy certificates. That's kind of the renewable energy certificates would be more towards the getting green energy and providing marketing. Community solar is the kind of the easy step there, and that is all homegrown, you know, solar projects here locally, and you're taking, you know, portions of the project, and that's offsetting your bill. So those community solar projects, those are all here in New York. Those are the ones, you know, all around the area.
And so, and by opting into them, you're saying, I want more of this to be built, so it is more being built.
Yes. So
Has it gone from 3% to 7%?
yes, I see your question. Yes. So, you know, with more demand for community solar, you have more projects. You know, it makes it easier to find the people that want to be in these projects. And with the new regulation in New York, making it very easy that we are just providing credits to people's bills. And so that makes it so people want to subscribe to these, causing more projects to be built. So, you know, there's an ebb and a flow with solar a lot of times. The solar developers will build immediately as the program opens, and then there's a lull, and then it goes back up. But, you know, with this, we call it a one bill solution, where it's just money off your bill, decreases, and that's that. We're seeing a lot more of an uptick for New York built solar projects.
Do you know what percentage is currently?
What percentage of people that have community solar?
What percent of power that people receive in the state is from solar?
Yeah, it's scary low, so it's not great. It's all a drop in the bucket, but hopefully, you know, with this momentum, it grows. You're still around, I think, 2%. It doesn't help that downstate, that's where a ton of people live, and there is no area down there for solar projects. So it really skews the state math, I would say, on that. But yeah, you're still looking at an energy mix of probably around 2% solar.
Are there community projects like this for wind?
Yeah, it's a good question. We thought there would be, especially in the beginning. The economics just aren't there for wind. You know, these small wind projects, these aren't the ones that are, you know, off the coast, you know, big turbines, or, you know, just these massive ones where you see 10 trucks pulling a turbine. You know, the economics just aren't there for smaller wind turbines.
Turbines are like just mosquito ones or just aren't efficient or?
Hang out. It's more marketing, like, you know, the ones on third and third.
Yeah.
It's like, it's there because it looks good.
Yeah.
You're getting a little bit of power, but you're not doing anything.
We're talking about the helix looking turbines. I think you guys ever seen those.
There's the vertical access. But, yes.
So, I'm just trying to understand the whole chain amongst everything. So the
Please.
community farm,
Yes.
right? The developer has that, right? How are they making money? If the consumer's getting a rebate?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Are they
So
getting paid by the utility companies or is it state rebates
they're getting paid by the utility company. So the utility company is essentially buying that power instead of, you know, power from, you know, shipping it from Quebec Hydro. We get a lot of power from Quebec Hydro. That means it has to be made. We have to pay Quebec Hydro, and then we have to transmit it downstate. Transmission, you have losses. You know, especially the long distance, you know, you can up the voltage. So these, you know, really thick transmission cables that you're moving power. But if you got something local and it's going to be used local, utility companies like that, so they pay for the power. And they actually pay for it at a higher rate. So the reason this all works is these are commercial scale, wholesale scale projects, but since there are residential subscribers attached to it, the utility values that power at a residential rate, at a retail rate. And so it opens up some value, and that's how, you know, we get paid from the developer. And then, of course, the developer provides savings for being a part of the project. So it's not, you know, a house of cards just built on you know, just incentives. This is a sustainable solution. You know, obviously you need land, and you can't be knocking down trees to build these things. So there's only a finite amount of community solar that can be built, but there's a lot more to come.
What is the scale that you need? What is these projects? What type of scale are they talking about? Or acreage or square footage?
So the maximum is 7 megawatts, and that's basically you can go from, we've got a project in Queens that's 70 kilowatts, which is 10 people. And so it goes from anywhere between 10 people all the way up to about 1,000 people, acreage-wise.
So for that 10 people project, is that
The rooftop.
is it a single rooftop,
Yeah.
12,000 square feet?
Yeah. But the ones, the ones that you see around here, those are the maximum sizes. Those are probably around 5 or 6 megawatts. Yeah.
So if the developers are creating the electricity, selling it back to the utility companies, why do they need us? What benefit do they get from having us sign up for community solar?
They can only get power if there are people attached to the project.
And that's state regulation.
It is. If
So
the project,
can make power and they just have nothing to do with it?
they get it at the wholesale rate. You know, if there's no one attached to it, they just go, well, that's just
So
commercial
it
power.
changes the rates by having us attached to it.
Correct. And without people attached to it, you know, that's.
So it's like selling beer across the tap room at retail versus selling beer at wholesale.
No, that's right. Exactly. That's why I need a translator.
Right, yeah.
Any other questions? I know we're almost at time, maybe 5 minutes.
Not a question, I know I've chimed in a bunch. I'm Lisa Pellegrino with the Center for Eco Technology. We're an environmental nonprofit, so I'm not a brewer, like full disclosure. However, this is my jam. I love learning about this stuff, and we do provide free assistance to any business or institution in the state if they're looking to implement wasted food solutions. That's another piece of the sustainability pie. The last little snarky comment I'll leave that I just love because it really like encapsulates so much. It's like you can't have your renewable dessert until you've had your energy efficiency vegetables, because that's really like, it doesn't make any sense slapping panels on a highly inefficient building, right? There's, you know, just a lot of opportunities there.
Yes.
I know you kind of touched on energy efficiency, but I want to like +1 that and put that to the
100%.
top again.
100%. And you know, we have an hour to talk about sustainability. Honestly, we could, no one would want to be here for 3, but we could probably stay for another 2 hours, and we can get into, you know, third-party suppliers, and we can get into, you know, where your grain's coming from, where your
Or heat
water's
recovery, like, right, there's just heat recovery.
yeah, exactly. And
Massive
you
opportunity.
you could start, you know, unboxing and it just becomes Pandora's box of just, you know, that like clown car, just there's so much in there. So try to just carve out a small piece, but absolutely, you know, if you're slapping panels on a building envelope that's just leaky, it's good to a point. It is not the entire solution.
You guys are around, so you can always find everyone and like talk to them for certain stuff to get more into the weeds and stuff.
Yes.
And back there as well, so
And- And I'll throw it right back, Jason, thank you for this. And if anyone's in New York, it's a great tap room down in Red Hook. Great to hear. Nice little plug for Strong Grove. They are, it's a great place.
Any other
Thank you.
questions?
Thank you all, appreciate the time.
Thank you.